we're live. Who all was here early today when I put up the link? Unfinished Project, Danny Boyd, LP94, they were all here really early. If you see the thumbnail, that is the remains of the old Princeton Dragway, which is now Ginger Lane in Gardner Estates. There will be a video coming out on that on another channel of a driving tour of that place, and I'll put up the link and share what it does. Should be next week. Danny Boyd says Roach Runner. Yes, I was cleaning out limbs from around the Roach Runner today. I think I got 2 more trailer loads of that stuff. Took 900 pounds off this morning and loaded it up again. Got me a nice scratch doing it too. I don't even know what that was from. Frizzell's watching from Michigan tonight. Cool. Hope you're having fun. Dean Stevenson says the drag strip list in Comprehensive Encyclopedia. There actually is a good website that has drag strip history, links to it. And Lars, if you happen to be in here, you stumbled upon that today. You pop that up, that will be cool. Yeah, Dean says, there we go. So Dean's been on there. He found it too. The old drag strip is located in today's Ginger Lane. There you go. Yep, that's it. That would be it. And one of the roads circling Princeton Dragway Road, that road was there long before the trailer park. They just kept the name. SSR Performance. How's it going, sir? I see Cope is in here. Cope, if you're watching, do I look homeless again tonight? He said I looked homeless last week. I must have been disheveled by his standards or something. Mohawk 62. Colleen is here. My Aunt Nancy's watching. Turbo Tom 416. He's got Circle Track Racing tonight in Attica, Ohio. Right on. You don't get in any fights, but if you do, don't lose them. 6th Street Garage is here. Last week's trivia winner. And we're going to have a giveaway again tonight at the bottom of the hour. How about that? Indecisive Garage is here. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. Heavens Mopar Scots. Hello, people of all sorts, he says. We have all sorts in here, that's for sure. Mean Street Mopar. I believe he's at 309 subs. Crawling like first gear and 4 low his way to 500, but he's going to get there this year. Pure Pontiac Garage says, hello, everyone. Thumper is here. He says, once again, I am a figment. That's too esoteric for me to understand and comprehend, Thumper. BNR Racing is here. Unfinished Project is here. Mexican Spec. Unity Motorsports Garage. Andy. Lunar Outlaws Garage in the house. We'll actually be seeing him here a little bit later. Andrew Nelson says, good evening from Team Nivlac 57. Thank you for coming by. Yes, indeed. The Nelsons are in the house. That's right. Buff Del Campo says, we're here. Unfinished Project says he's just driving home from work just now. Mopar's Mustangs and minivans. Jack stands as Cinder Blocks, who just registered for the No Name Nationals. JB's Little Shop. Andy says they're listening on getting Clark ready to race tomorrow. And if you don't know who Clark is, that would be the Fairmont wagon of Micah Monteleone. It's a mean little thing that he has. It does sort of bear resemblance to the National Lampoon's vacation movie Family Truckster because it has the remains of wood grain on it. They call it Clark. It's a cool car. The One-Eyed Cat himself, Don English, is here. NSB Custom Cars. Casey at Jack Stand Cinder Block says he just subscribed to a lot of the new guys. Well, cool. Thank you. I'm sure they appreciate it. And if you want to know who is registered for the No Name Nationals and has fewer than 500 subscribers, meaning they are currently running the No Name 500, that is on my main page. And you can either go to my main page or you can go to johnwilburn.com and it'll redirect you there. Either way. But that'll show you who is in the hunt and is registered. Dust Devil Garage Brian, glad you're here. Andrew Nelson asks, anyone in the eastern Pennsylvania area? The Maple Grove Flea Market is tomorrow. It's very good for drag car parts. Cool. Neat. He says, no doubt that he said, like there's any doubt I'll be there. I was waiting for phones to register. I understand. I just noticed that you just happened to register and it came to my mind when I saw you pop up. So I thought I'd give you a shout out. And if you're not yet registered, you can register at nonamenationals.com. Anytime that we have something new to tell you guys about or give you, we certainly will. Don't forget, too, that Edelbrock has decided to just give an incentive to everyone who is registered for the No Name Nationals, and that is 10 to 15% off what you see at edelbrock.com. And as we buy as a group, because this is our group is treated like a business in Edelbrock. So as we buy as a group, we work toward an even better price break. That's going to be really substantial for this community. JB says, Lunar's a lost cause, but we keep trying. KJ Kiley is here. How's it going? Smoker and Sean. Glad you could make it. BNR says, my arms are aching. I picked up and installed, I don't know what that is, Hino, Hino, Meteor 2 air brake rear drums weighing 225 pounds, 2-inch thick cast iron. No, thank you. My left hamstring is hurting from all the stuff. I took 1,400 pounds of recycling in today and a bunch of brush and loaded the trailer up again, and my rake is just had it. It can't handle all the stuff I've got down out here. So I'm going to get me another rake tomorrow and take that off, and then I'll load the trailer up good and then just unhook it so I don't have to drag it around all weekend, and then take that off on Monday. It's never ending. Like I thought I was going to have the last trailer load today, and I go over on the other side of the garage and there was limbs on the roof. I'm like, how did those? I thought I got them all, but I didn't. There was limbs on the other side I didn't even see. So I got up on the ladder and drug those off. It's just never ending. I think more fell out of my pine trees than ever grew out of the ground, it seems like. What's the turnaround on email from the Edelbrock group? We have our own concierge at Edelbrock, Alex So. He works from 8 to 5 Central Time, Monday through Friday. And until we get a permanent portal to order from online, you need to place your orders through him and his contact information. I sent your info into him, and he should be reaching out to you. He reached out to the whole group here just recently. But anyway, your information has been sent to him. He knows you're registered. Clayton's Toolbox says, howdy. Oh boy, Unfinished Project said, if I can get off in working time tomorrow, I'm road tripping to Virginia. Well, what part? If you come to Southwest, lunch is on me. How about that? He says, look at the moon. Yeah, the moon yesterday, I noticed, was just giant in the sky. It was great. SSR says, when are we going to have access to Edelbrock login site? I don't know. That is a great question for Alex or Professor P. But Alex will be the one to ask. He would know. Who knows? Maybe we can even have Alex on here sometime. This is a new thing. It is new doing this with a group as opposed to a business. We are the first ones. We are the guinea pig. So when they get it sorted out, we will let you know. Said you got your Edelbrock TR5 yesterday? Wow. So what is that? Is that a Windsor or Cleveland base? I knew you were going to upgrade a little bit. SSR wants a crack at them scratch and dent deal. Yeah, that's what not Lunar. That's what Dust Devil Brian was asking about. They have two Brians and they're both spelled with a Y, but it was Dust Devil Brian that was asking about that. Yeah, Thumper got an email from him. Lots of people did. Yeah, I didn't even get the email. I got forwarded. See, I'm not actually on the list because I'm technically not registered. Cope did a test drive of Power Stroke diesel, and I hope he's putting up video of that on his channel. I've seen a picture from it, and it is awesome. It is awesome. If you have a Ford truck with the diesel, you need that. Lunar Outlaw says he has some irons in the fire, looking forward to working on the square body. Let me tell you, irons in the fire. You have no idea. But, yeah, a lot going on. Jack Stands the Cinder Block said, we started cleaning the shop. We were losing it, but it looks like my buddy will be renting it till he can buy the building. Okay. Hope it all works out for you. So Lunar Outlaw says, lunch is on me, but the question is, you're going to get some of the Lord's chicken. Well, so last time Lunar came through here, he was coming through from Texas to New York and stopped here in this Buick. And I said, all right, man, what's for lunch? And of all places, he wanted to go to Chick-fil-A because they don't have Chick-fil-A up north, or at least they didn't then. So, but let me tell you, the people in Chick-fil-A are like, what is this outfit rolling in here? Because he's rolling in that Buick. I'm rolling in the Cousin Eddie van, and I did some filming with it. And so I had the headgear on and everything. He's got GoPro mounts and stuff all over the car. Like, we don't know what these people are, but it's interesting. Yep, diesel with his valve body. Unfinished Project's got a secretive marketplace deal going on. What else is new? Oh, okay. So I thought those letters looked right. It's for the a tunnel ramp for 318. Okay, cool. That's a good intake. That's a good intake. That's much better than the wind intakes. Seems you would just be defaulted in. Yeah, I am. I don't like. I don't have myself on the registration list, so I guess I have to get my email. But it's okay. It's fine. I was joking about that with Polito. So you guys have a perk that I don't have, but I think they would give it to me if I called and ordered from them. So Levi's calling with good news and bad news, which is every time Levi posts. Good news is he found the smoking gun from the mishap late racing season last year. You mean the one that turns your engine into a boat anchor at the 600-foot mark? The bad news is I need new heads without cracks. I mean, aren't they like just tripping over them in the junkyard? That was a fun day. Yes, it was. Clayton says, Edelbrock wouldn't ship to Canada, so I had my cam and lifter sent to my cousin in California. It arrived, but my cousin is real slow sending them to me. I'm eager to get them. Edelbrock won't ship to Canada? I don't know why they wouldn't. Andrew Nelson says, our Power Stroke is the 1,050-pound-foot version. Wow. I can't imagine what the 1,200-pound-foot option can do, and his 13,000-pound trailer doesn't slow it down. The 1,200 unit has got to throw a trailer around. Oh, yeah, I bet. Dust Devil Brian says, I'm looking for a TR5. Well, I know where there is one. Busted Radio says, $100 for a verifiable picture with UP. I could do that. But I'm not going to rat him out. B&R is looking for a Ford nodular 9-inch center section, asking Thumper. I don't know why not ask everybody, because not just the Ford people would have that, you know. Yeah. Levi hates the American dream, trying to pay for a wedding and house. Poor you. Man, oh man, such first world problems. Gotta come up with race car money. You'll be all right. You build you a Triple Crown engine for that car on the cheap and put in there. have you a slower season. See what you can do with a naturally aspirated small block. Might be fun. Mexican Spec suggests unfinished project cover his face in the pictures with green cardboard. He actually sent me one that was sort of like that one time. I thought it was kind of funny. Thumper says all my 9-inch parts are spoken for. Need to get a couple carriers. Yeah, that's the thing. Going to do the strange big bearing units, he says. PNR says nodular third dropout used in the 427, 428, Super Cobra Jet 429. Never heard of the 351 Cleveland used it too. I don't know why not. Levi says, yeah, but you don't know what you don't know is I have a spare set, but have to tear a good engine apart, which isn't ideal. Now, for good news, for reals, my niece just turned 1 and she's happy and healthy. Put the whole engine in the car. Just run a season in the 7s with a stock LS in it. Try to win some brackets with that thing, and come back next season running 590s. That'd be cool. Thumper, yes, it is not a Ford part. It is far more interesting. Jack stands cinder blocks. Can we get a 25-cent description of each race class? Well, it's basically what we have every year, although we're wanting to do some match racing this year in lieu of having a 28-10-5 class, because that is getting completely away from what we want to do with this community and this event. But we're going to have the Friday bracket. We're going to do another beginner bracket on the Saturday and burnout competition. And of course, the lifeblood should be doing call-outs. And of course, we're going to run the monkey bikes again this year. They have gotten faster and faster. Andrew Nelson says his recovery is going well. He's 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I start weights in a week. Buck does it's been helping him out. June is racing toward us, and we have a ton to do. Can't thank Buck enough. Yeah, Mark. People would know who you're talking about with Mark, but yeah, Buck does it. Yeah, he's a great guy. He is a great guy. Lunar says his 2012 Chevy Caprice it's an old police car, runs a 14.1 quarter. It'll run a consistent 14.1. Well, there you go. Why don't you bring it and see if you can threaten Just Mopar Joe and tease Good Time Garage and Indecisive Garage and some of these bracket ringers. Little Possum. Lunar says sometimes running a stock engine is just very convenient and fun. Yeah. But you know what else it is, Levi? Levi says bracket racing is boring, but you know what else? It's also cheap. And put that money towards your wedding and your house. Yes, we have rule changes to monkey bikes. They're at NoNameNationals.com. We have the new monkey bike rules from last year. Big change. 6th Street Garage says, thanks for the cap. Got it this morning. And would you like for me to show them the picture? I can show them the picture of you wearing the cap if you like. Justin Hill is here. Well, Thumper's got something good going on. He's getting another spool, but he's not putting much gear on it. One-Eyed Cat says, JB's little shop, please report to the starting line. Your whipping is waiting. Yeah. I don't know, man. He took out Blake in the first round. That was an upset. Let's see here. Our trivia winner last week was 6th Street Garage. And There he is sporting his cap now. Who knew 6th Street Garage looked like that? Look at that vehicle in the background. That's what I want to know about. Tell us what that thing is. Jack Stan's Cinder Blocks is waiting to see if Edelbrock Group has the parts underneath the Super. Go to edelbrock.com and look at their website and know that you'll get 10 to 15% off what's on there. Justin Hill says 188 days. Time is FLT. I think he means flying. Yeah, it is. It'll be here before you know it. It's 187 days, 3 hours, and 38 minutes to be exact. And then you get a little bit of change, you know, till we open the gates. Lunar says they don't have anything for the 1UZ because almost all that has to come from Australia. Blue Grit says, say a prayer for Anna. Fire broke out near the ranch and hopped the highway. They evacuated the guests and opened the gates and let all 80 horses loose. She got in her Tacoma with her 2 pups and got out. Oh my gosh, what a mess. What a mess. Sounds like all the life has been saved. Whew. Man. Clayton's Toolbox says, do you know much about the Honda K24 engine? I don't know who you're asking. I know one thing, that 2.4 liter in the CRV has got to be the most reliable engine ever. That's all I know. Andrew Nelson says, what are you doing, Levi? We ran our LS with primarily all stock parts of 1,000 horsepower. Only took it apart to see if it was in good shape, and it was. You tell him, Andrew. See what you can do with him. Lunar asks if I've ever tried to install parts that were manufactured upside down. It's not particularly fun. I've tried to install parts that were manufactured incorrectly a time or two, and I just make a mental note not to ever buy anything like that. Blue Grit says, hope she has her home and trailer when she gets back. Yeah, man. Hope so too. Guess that's a dry area. Justin Hill says it's snowing in Idaho. It was about 70 degrees here. It was really nice. Lunar's been working on, is that a Mark III Toyota Supras or MK? What is that? For 21 years. And the one thing I could tell you is the 7M GTE, as they look good on an engine. Yeah, whatever. Man, remember when engines and stuff had names and cool names? What is all that? It's like code. It's like a license plate. Bad Tree Blake is here. He says heathens something. Something heathens, yeah. Levi says he's dealing with some of the aspects of running stock engines blind. The stuck injector caused the end of the No Name Nationals motor. Just really bad luck, to be honest. Sixth Street Garage is a Studebaker pickup. Don't know what year. Flathead, straight 8, been in that spot for decades. I have a Packard Flathead 6 in a tree row. It's been there my entire life. I don't want to move it. The Japanese do that? Yeah, they do all kinds of stuff though. Smart people, but I'm not tracking them on that. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, I'll be listening. I just put 40 pounds of wings away a little bit ago now. I'm going to air fry some for dinner. You know, when you say it like that, it sounds like you're making a run at Joey Chestnut for the competitive eating championship of the world there. If you just put away 40 pounds of wings, man, I wouldn't be anywhere near that house the next hour. Casey's talking about more of this super dog. If Super could get anything from the Vortec the Nelsons used to an LS or an 8.1 Vortec. Okay. Levi's getting philosophical with us. But everyone on the outside knows better than the one who is on the inside. Also, everyone notices your failures, never the successes. I wouldn't say that's true. Might feel that way. I want to see Levi rip off a 590. That's what I want to see. But I'd really like to see him make a bunch of passes and break his streak. Break his streak of breaking. Thumper says he has a 32 Pontiac 6 as art along my driveway. Yeah. Yeah, Levi had a couple of bad events. Stuff happens. Stuff breaks. It's not good. Colleen says it's 72 here, and I'm on the big screen in the carport. You have a big screen in your carport? That's wild. Andrew says, we bought an injector tester. I think it's a must if you're serious about racing an LS or other high horsepower combo. Makes sense. So you don't have something lean out and go kaboom. Lunar says, I'm putting an 8.1 in my square body. You're not going to have a good time fitting that inside of a Super, and it's heavy. Well, I bet. Yeah, Levi said the only one he's got access to is 3 hours away. That's kind of that way it happens, isn't it? Casey says he has an 8.1 in his square body crew cab. The Allison transmission I have for towing makes it slower than slow. But does it make it more reliable than reliable? That is the question. Uh-oh. Thumper says that if I get my new bigger blower in time to sort it out, I'm calling you out. Oh, boy. Thumper, you want to pass tech for, like 6.0 tech. Casey has a spare 8.1 sitting around. I'm not familiar as I'm buffering. Yeah, you're speaking metric. Just Mopar Joe is here. Levi, you can't ride your bike more than a few miles from the house. Joe with an elbow from the top rope for old Levi there. Says, all right, Mopar people. Upper says, I will have the tech. All I need right now is window net and diaper. See, Dean just put this here just to see if I could read it. I really don't want to. It's a whole lot of letters, 24 valve, 12 valve, all this stuff. Man, that's good enough reason to not work on for me right there. It's just trying to keep all that straight. Rockstar Joe here. Dakota sneaks in. DNR says, okay, it's a 496-inch big block, 496-inch 454. Cool. Dean likes the alphabet soup. All right. Well, just in time for Joe here. We have a guest on. He has got something he wants to share with all you guys. So let's bring him in.
What's up, guys?
What's happening? So for those of you who are new and do not know who this is the Lunar Outlaw. He and I have an infamous history on YouTube. But anyway, I am very glad he's here tonight. And coming from his man cave with all his engines and stuff on stands and all that good stuff. Yeah, see all that stuff. And he wants to tell you about a new product. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you. He sent me this. I'm gonna show it to you, then let him tell you about it. So first of all, let's get out of the way. My hands are dirty from handling tree limbs and recycling today. I have scrubbed them with Gojo, and this is as good as they're going to get, So
Is that sap from a pine tree?
Oh yeah. Sap from pine limbs, and then I got all that. I was sorting out through 5-gallon buckets. So a buddy of mine wanted to scrap his stuff from his shop. He rebuilds air and electric tools. So he had these buckets just piled full of broken hammer pins and pieces out of impact guns. And then he had electric motors thrown in there, and it was all just mixed, and bolts. And so anyway, I'm digging through this thing, and my hands were just as filthy as they could possibly be. So then that, and then the tree sap. And anyway, I worked, couldn't get my hands any better than this. But so Lunar, he calls me out of the blue. Oh yeah, I gotta mention this one. There's Jared Rigney. He says, "R.I.P. Bootleggers Cafe." If you can read that on my shirt, that's a good restaurant in Rocky Mount that used to be there, and he could never get his food costs down to where it needed to be, so he closed up. But that place was great. I really missed their nachos. But anyway, so Lunar calls me and says he's got this new thing and he wants to send me one. And then this shows up. Now, the first thing I notice here, it's made in the USA. See that? It's made in America. And I wish I had his crinkle shipping paper he uses, because it looks like a ghillie suit. I've never seen it. It does. Okay. So then this shows up. If it looks like a pattern that goes on a Holly 4150, that's because it is. If it looks like a place that you can put stuff in there to keep it from falling down your intake, that's because it is. There's the logo there, the Car Buddy. Tell us about this thing.
So it's the Car Buddy. I don't know what possessed me to start doing it, other than I was tired of sticking dirty rags inside intake manifolds and cover amp carburetors. And if you've ever had to fish something out of an intake manifold, you know what it's like. It sucks. So one day I ordered it's called a rapid prototype, or a 3D printer, and I made one, and my buddy was like, I want one. So I started making them, and I started fiddling with another design. They come in different colors. And he was like, well, what about the people running at the drag strip that have carburetors on it? And so I have two different versions. This one sits on a bare intake manifold, works as a block off plate. And this is the hat that sits on top of a carburetor. It fits on, even if you love the old thermo bags, it'll fit right on top of it, no problem. It's got enough gap in the inside of it. And on the Hollies, it will actually index itself. So I sent them to a couple of my buddies. John Wilburn's one of them. There's a couple other people that you guys might know. But it's all people that I want to be able to help support. And, they're, just this one in particular, I want to point out there's like a bullseye in the middle of it. And that's because I know if I put a hole from the factory on this thing to you guys, and I make them here in-house, literally. My wife is a saint. Anywho, if I put a hole in here, I know I wouldn't put a threaded rod or anything in there and crap would fall down. So I'm sending it to you guys without the hole in it. And the inside, there's a bullseye. The indent is where you drill your hole if you want it. You don't have to. And the outside hole is the furthest you can get before going into the infill. And if you go into the infill, then you're going to have a hard time to, use this product. So that gives you a little bit of buffer, because I know if I just put it just in that one spot, I'd screw it up. But it's the Car Buddy, and it's made out of a high temp, not super high temp, like don't get it up, 250 degrees or anything, but UV protected. So if you're going to be sitting outside on the drag strip or something, but yeah, it just sits right on top of your carburetor. If
you accidentally get it to 250 degrees, make sure you film it.
Yeah, well, plastic at 250 degrees. Let me put that at 250 degrees. Yeah, Fahrenheit. Because all this stuff is in, not freedom units when I get the material and try to convert that over to something I understand. I'm not into Kelvin. So yeah, it's like 90 degrees Celsius. Not Kelvin. Kelvin's totally different. Yeah. But yeah, it's in Celsius. So yeah, 200 degrees, about 190.
Yeah.
Don't light it on fire. It's plastic. But yeah, it's just a place so you can put your stuff, because one, I lose everything when I put it on the cowl, or I shut the hood and it ends up cracking the windshield. So
Jack stands center blocks. These guys, they all immediately see the utility. He's thinking putting a little cone there where the hole would be to keep hardware away from the threaded rod if you were to knock it out, I guess. Yep. So, I mean, this is interesting. So this is a focus group right here in the comments.
Absolutely.
Of people who actually use this stuff. So I was talking with Lunar about this, and there's a coupon code for folks in our community. The coupon code is NNN. So you guys, it's 5% off the checkout, correct?
Yep.
And also, as he sells these things, for every so many sales, we're going to give one away. Just do a giveaway.
In fact, we're going to give one away tonight.
Yep.
It'll be shipped right from my house. You can choose one of these. We currently have a bunch of different colors. You have them in orange, blue, Ford blue. I originally was going for engine colors and or manufacturer, but people are like orange. I can see it. Gray, black, and but tonight you get your choice between an orange one of the manifold style or a red one, and I haven't given one away yet. So except to 5 of my buddies.
Both Thumper and the Nelsons are asking about one for a 4500. It's like a Dominator.
That is so my eventual goal. Now the reason why I'm doing this is I'm tired of spending everything I buy is just a frustration, a total frustration. And I want everything I make to be able to fit really nicely. I've gone through 20 of these and 10 of these.
You can tell he's done a lot of prototyping on this. If you look at it, I mean, this is a lot of work here.
So I have 2 of my prototypes right next to me from my last live stream. And one of the big things was I am notorious at breaking everything. So
you do break stuff.
I do break stuff. And so I went through different materials, and the regular base material is not strong enough. It's pretty durable, but if you hit it with a really big breaker bar, like a hammer, a bunch of times, it will eventually fail. This has been thrown downstairs and everything. This was the second one that was made. But the problem is this doesn't take temperature very well, and it's not UV resistant. So if you're out on the drag strip, not particularly, the sun will start to warp it. So I went to a material that is a little bit better at surviving temperature. And the first ones, I didn't have the temperature while manufacturing it correctly. And instead of it being strong, it's brittle. So 20 of them until I was able to get one. And my son has the very first one that I was able to hit multiple times with my breaker bar, which I call the breaker bar. It's that long. It's breaks everything, including 8 of the 10 head bolts in the 8.2 liter Vortec I'm putting together. And that was a nightmare. So eventually I got it right, and he has the original one that survived everything. This one obviously did not. I threw this against the ground about a dozen times, and it just didn't pass. So 20 units later, and I have a video of me taking one of these things and throwing it across my room and it bouncing around a bunch of times. So not saying you should do that, but I know I drop everything, so I want to make sure that it survives.
It is robust. I mean, look at the ears on this thing, and it's well made. I mean, it's a nice piece.
I can't see the comments, but it looks
We've got Joe in here. Andrew Nelson's asking about making one with spark plugs. I mean, these
little spark plug holders.
Yeah. Dr. Go says he's got to thank Lunar, as he was my first YouTube content creator to help me start my YouTube search to learn all things 318.
Well, thank you. I learned a lot about the 318. One that is damn near indestructible.
Oh, yeah.
Impressive.
Cool. So if any of you guys have any questions, there is a link below the video in the description. And it gives you a link to purchase, and it gives you the coupon code is NNN. And you guys will get 5% off at checkout. He also said that, we do a little kickback, but I told him, I said, no, hang on to it. And as people buy them, we'll just give them away. So it goes right back to the community. That's just my option, but that's what I want to do for you guys.
Now, we are going to do one giveaway tonight.
Yeah,
I'm going to let John decide how he wants to do it, and then you guys just pick which one you want. He'll let me know who to send it to, and I'll get it in the mail Monday.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Also, always interested in feedback. So I want to do I'm doing a slow rollout of about 40 parts this year. And those are the first two.
Just Mopar Joe says, I'm putting a carb buddy on every dyno engine I'm hauling or shipping. Super nice seal for travel.
So I actually sent one to Joe too, because I know he's going to abuse it and use it. And two good guys that I immediately thought I know who I can send them to.
Connor says he sneaked out in the shop because the in-laws are visiting. As much as he likes them, 6 people in a 2-bedroom trailer is too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be sleeping outside.
6 people in my house is too many.
Indeed.
5.
I'll tell you what. Since Joe is here, Joe, do you want to come up with a trivia question for us and text me the answer so we'll watch for it and we'll give one of these things away? It's up to you.
I like that. LSS Shipbox Sanctuary. That's a cool name.
He's a cool guy. He's thinking about camping in an RV that he's storing for some guy in Wisconsin. Oh, my gosh. Everything about that just sounds rough to me. Joe said, yeah, I'll send. Okay, cool. We're gonna let Joe get interactive on this one.
Joe's awesome. His videos are very informative, and he's way smarter than I am.
No, he's a good dude. Those guys came out with this M-body. I think it was a Fifth Avenue or something. And they thrashed and thrashed on it, got it together, put on a show in the burnout competition. They're just what it's all about. I like it. It's a good crew. Upper says he's thinking about LS swapping my Travco RV, rebuilding the interior, and bringing it to No Name Nationals and the ice cream cruise. Sounds like a lot. Pull it off, man.
188 days, you have the pitter patter.
187, 3 hours and 16 minutes, plus however long it takes me to get the gate open. Usually I'm there at 7 a.m. on the Wednesday for setup, but people have come earlier and earlier every year. Every year they get there. I have people start coming in Wednesday morning now, getting their grills out, setting up. I mean, used to be Thursday was a setup day and tech. And now it's like Wednesday, and pretty soon it'll be Tuesday, because I know JB and Lars were camped out before daylight on Wednesday last year.
They're going to be competing with Woodstock.
I'm telling you. Tony says he's going to have to get one of those. Super cool. Yeah, there's a link down below.
Thanks, bud.
So this one is a prototype, some things he was playing with, but the what you see is what it is right here. So this 3D printer, it's a well-made piece.
It's funny because when I was in college, 3D printers were a joke. Like even 5 years ago, they were a joke. Now they're the stuff you can make out of. You can make full intake manifolds. It's crazy. Being able to make things out of carbon fiber reinforced nylon, mind-blowing.
I have a friend of mine that's been working with 3D printers for a very long time. He's an engineer, and he's made all kinds of stuff, but he's an ace with it because he's just been doing it so long. So he'll make Christmas ornaments, and then he hangs them up in this can with a little bit of acetone in the bottom, and the fumes will smooth all this stuff. And he knows what he's doing.
Unfortunately, for this material, you can't smooth it out. Some of them you can, like the ASAs and stuff like that, but this stuff I can't. Okay,
I'm not going to accept this one from Joe. Joe, you, an educated fellow as yourself, a teacher, I think you can come up with a good question for me.
That was brutal.
Bring it up and text me the answer. Connor says, I got tagged in a Facebook post on Wednesday. A guy was broken down with an RV towing a Brat. I guess he means a Subaru Brat, close to me on his way to Wisconsin. I found the transmission to be out, so I towed it to my place and took him to U-Haul. Well, that's cool.
Karma.
Yeah.
Been to that.
Andrew Nelson says, Dallas, the 302 sounded sweet. If you've not yet seen Dallas's EZ 302, it's like a modern version of the DZ 302. And part one is his first dyno results, but they have inspired a part two. So if you're not yet following the EZ 302 deal that Dallas, Mr. Rotter's neighborhood, is doing, you should be. Yeah, I think we know that one. I'll tell you, it's funny is watching Levi and Joe spar. It's some good stuff. Dust Devil Garage says, No Name Nationals is a good time, Lunar. You should come out this year. Well, you know.
Hoping to.
It's always out.
I've had a lot going on the past few years, but this year things should be slowing down. And it does sound fun.
Here we are. Tony says, we're landing in Sykeston Tuesday afternoon this year. What did I tell you? Gosh, I don't even get there on Tuesday afternoon. I mean, I'm not even there. I get there Tuesday night usually. Lovejoy says he might be buying the RV because he doesn't want to come get it and is trying to sell it to me. Well, that sounds like he could get a good deal on it. Diecast Dreams Customs is here. .38 Racing sneaked in. Glad you're here, sir. All right.
What does Joe come up with?
Joe sent me something, so I'm going to let him ask the question in the chat, and then I'm going to scan for the answer. Here's your question. What year was Don Garlits inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame?
That's a good question.
I got the answer. I'm going to wait for it. First to get it. I can hear the phones burning up the world out here.
Now, is that the Hall of Fame in Pennsylvania?
Inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame. Dakota's got 1923. I want to say he was born in 1930 or 30 something. So no. Dakota's got, it's like you don't even have to ask for all the wrong answers.
Dakota's Timeout. That's a name I haven't seen in a while.
You haven't seen it yet, but he's still around.
That's awesome.
Garlits is a legend. Yes, he is. Dakota says 1861. No, we're not talking about what year he put on a gray uniform. We're talking about what year he was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame. Now, I have seen the right answer. But I always wait just a little bit to make sure and scan back. Make sure that I get it right. All right. And it looks like the first person to get this was, shocker, Unfinished Project with 1989.
That was the year I was born.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so I started high school in 1990. Just
so the question for Unfinished Projects would be, what does he want, the orange base plate or the red right on the carburetor hat?
You choose, man.
It's up to you.
This style right here, the one that sits on the carb itself, sits on the air filter register.
Just like that.
Oh, yeah, look at that. J-Bo got it after. Indecisive Garage got it later. Connor got it later. Oh, well, you got to be faster. He says, respectfully, I thought you were older than John. Oh, there you go.
Ouch.
I thought Bobby Frizzell was older than me, too, but I was mistaken. I'm a year older than Bobby. Joe says Dark Sport, which is always the right answer. And now Victor's got 89. Dakota's got 89. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, 1989. Yeah. Well, cool. He says base plate, please.
You got it,
so
bud.
Unfinished project, if you would like, I will send Lunar your shipping information.
And I'll go out first thing Monday. I'll have it on the machine, and I'll beep boop bop, and it'll be out.
He says, I didn't even know what we were playing for. Well, there you go. By the way, that guy wins everything. Oh gosh, Dust Devil says, can you make them in purple?
Not yet. It's trying to keep it so that I can keep up with orders instead of branching out.
It comes in 5 colors though.
Nope.
So he opted to give away red and orange tonight.
Do have blue. The blue is pretty vibrant. And so far, orange has been the most popular, and I think it's because other people are like me, and if it's not bright, you'll lose it. So.
Yeah, I looked everywhere. I didn't see Mr. Rotter in there first. There's Frizzell. Looks like I've missed some good stuff. Yeah, you missed a giveaway. This is a Bobby Frizzell kind of thing right here. So Lunar makes these.
Right over there.
And you can see that it fits on a 4150 Holly pattern, and it's designed so you can put your stuff in the top so it doesn't drop down the intake.
Right there.
We just gave one away.
My buddy helps me.
Andrew Nelson says Calvin was in the staging lanes at Gainesville, and he was trying to get the old guy who was checking out his car to move so he could make a pass. He had no idea who Garlitz was. She's telling me Calvin didn't know that was Don Garlitz? Yeah, apparently. That is kind of funny. Almost one. What do you mean almost? My dad said almost counted in hand grenades. Doesn't count in this. I know you weren't first, Dallas. That's why I read it back a few times. I always try to get it right. Dallas was having fun with it, though. Thumper says, I think I need to get into 3D printing. I cringe to think what Thumper would make if he had a 3D printer.
I got to say that I got the bamboo ones, and they're really nice right out of the box. I don't really have to fight too much.
I got to tell you, Frizzell's another one's asking. He wanted to sit on a carburetor and hold the spark plugs. So a lot of them are asking about that.
The only concern would be like how you'd be able to fit them in there, but
you make a little wing,
yeah.
like a little thing that comes off this side like that. It just has 4 holes.
Nope.
There you go. That's it.
Special edition.
Yep. Just don't put the numbers under it or anything, because Ford people will go haywire if you do. Dakota doesn't know how to 2D print. Dean says, rough Southern Justice, well done. There's a movie, I think, Country Justice. I was thinking it reminded me of that. A friend of mine's in that.
I've never seen that movie.
It's an old movie from the 90s, and they filmed it in my hometown, and my buddy Deet is in it. He plays a sheriff's deputy.
Oh, wow.
It's got Ali Sheedy in it and George C. Scott. It's worth a watch. Need 2 rows, 4 on each side. Yeah, it needs for the plugs. Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to do. You just
extend the outsides or something.
There's a link down below to these things, down below the video, and the coupon code is NNN. So you guys will get 5% off. And if he sells these, and as he sells these, we'll do a giveaway every so often. Because
it's directly through my website, Lunar Outlaws, lunaroutlaw.com. There's no like weird Alibaba site.
The direct link is down below, and you can browse around whatever else is there too while you're in it. Dakota says, yeah, I was in that movie too. No, you weren't. You were born in what? Last month? That movie's 97. You weren't around then. I wasn't around then either because I had already moved away the year before. He says 16 plugs, you have fresher. Yeah, I understand. So you have, yeah. But see, at that point in time, now it's the entire top of the thing. But it's a worthy idea, yeah. Mostly old parts, the voice of the No Name Nationals. Hope you aren't getting blown away by that wind in the Midwest. 65 miles an hour here earlier. Now, I've been cleaning up from all the storm damage. No wind now, but man, it's a mess. I probably have at least 2 more trailer loads of brush to haul out of here.
What was it? We were on the Great Race going through the Midwest, and I couldn't believe how windy it was. It was like lake effect, but it's so flat. It's crazy.
Colleen says you missed the food stuff. She means good stuff, but when she says food, Ron will think it's even worse because Ron definitely doesn't want to miss the food stuff. Thumper said we had 25-foot waves on the big lake last week. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God, Lord. And people wonder why ships sink there. That's crazy.
Does anybody else have anything? I thought this was interesting. He wanted me to check it out and let people know about it. He's a member of our community. He's making cool product here. So link is down below. Unfinished project will let you know what he thinks of his because he's going to be getting one soon. He says, we found a new trash can and ice chest after the last windstorm. I still have to fix my fence. I got 5 sections of fence knocked down and probably going to lose another one trying to get that big tree limb down.
Yeah, that thing's nuts. You sent me pictures of it, and then you did that short. Dude, that's a widowmaker and a half.
Yeah, that's actually what I was doing when he called me about this, is I was studying on how to get that limb down. That's what I was doing that very moment.
Nope.
One on Kansas says, Sykeston is under a tornado watch right now. Oh, my. Hope Paulson keeps it all strapped down good over there. Nothing blows away. Culture Redneck Garage came in from strapping down the patio canopy in preparation for tornadoes. Yeah, we don't get tornadoes here.
Rare that we get them up here.
B&R went to your website.
What did you think of it?
Indecisive Garage says it won't fit my supercharger. He's got a cool truck. He's got a Lightning clone. He's got a
yeah?
Yeah, it's got the supercharger and everything. He runs Cope's first trans brake for the E4OD in it. Cool guy. Cool. And he's in the No Name 500 too. So Indecisive Garage is at 95 subscribers. He's running the No Name 500. Nice. If you're not yet subscribed to Tim Jacobson's channel, go check it out. And in addition to cool automotive content about his truck, he has a video about lasagna.
Oh, what?
I'm there. 6th Street Garage says technology is cool. 3D printing, CAD/CAM, cardboard aided design. Yes, I love cardboard aided design. That's my kind of CAD.
That's how I fixed that 72 satellite.
Yep, a lot of that.
Cardboard.
Yes. Mostly old parts wrong words says, I guess I missed the intro. Can I have a quick recap of what Lunar is doing? So I will tell you that he is making these. The link to buy one, if you're so inclined, is down below this video. There's another version that sits on the carburetor. This version sits on the intake. It's got the place to actually set stuff instead of letting it fall down the intake. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands so that people won't incriminate themselves, but we have all at some time or another on an intake that has a dual plane set stuff on that little wall of the dual plane when we were young and stupid and it fell down in the engine, right? Who has not done that?
Magnet on a string and hope you can get it.
Unfinished Project says Delaware gets an average of 1 tornado per year. Well, that's one more than we get here.
That's not fun.
Unfinished Project said that base plate looks like the perfect place to precariously perch my 2 to 4 barrel adapter. There you go. Here's Levi wanting Joe to drive to Lambert's.
That's actually a really good idea, because I was thinking coming up with different designs for different carburetors, or different like bolt patterns, doing an adapter plate, so you can put it on a 2-barrel. I didn't even think about that.
Good.
It's a great idea on finished projects.
Did you see the intake Calvin printed before the production model was manufactured? Calvin designed some really cool stuff.
What is it? Edelbrock. Talking about Edelbrock, right? You guys have a great deal with Edelbrock. Let me turn this around. I don't know how to turn this around. I'm going to just spin this around like that. This is my absolute favorite intake manifold made by Edelbrock, and they use 3D printing to come up with the original designs for it. And that's for the LS, so you can twin turbo it.
Didn't that look like a Corvette intake kind of?
Oh, it's so awesome.
Isn't it wild?
Edelbrock makes some freaking awesome stuff. And it's just think that they use 3D printing to come up with that design. I have that on there because he likes to sleep on stuff. And I try to protect it. But he's my buddy, so he's allowed to sleep on stuff.
There's enough fur there to make a whole other cat.
Yeah, well, we almost lost him last week, so we're good. We're good with whatever he wants to do.
Thumper wants to 3D print a Pontiac cross ram.
That'd be cool. Like old school style cross ram, or like that cross ram.
Wow. So Levi wants to see Joe drive the Lamberts, and Joe says you might beat me at a buffet competition, but the track will see me winning. Those two are having a lot of fun sparring on here.
That's savage.
Joe, I think Joe probably sets a reminder for this live, and the reminder doesn't say John Wilburn live. It says time to troll Levi. I'm convinced that's what his reminder on his phone probably actually says. Dean says to Lunar Outlaw, I'd sell it as an LS restrictor plate to allow Fords and Chryslers and AMCs to race on even footing. You can count on Dean for things like that. Most of the old parts wrong wards is my favorite Edelbrock product is an intake manifold for a flathead Ford V8. Sheer genius for the time and still performs amazing. I could go with that.
Those are wicked cool engines. I don't know the first thing how to do the whole potted, main cap bearings and stuff, but it was innovative for the time.
I don't think I've ever seen that sentence before. Hunter says, be a real pimp like my little brother and have a real one. How old is Hunter? 12? Hunter's what, 18, 19? Something close? Unfinished projects is get started now. In 3 years, it'll finish printing. Some of those print jobs do take a little while.
I have an LS engine like this big. It took almost 14 hours. Crazy.
Where's my I Love JMJ shirt? Joe says Levi's mistaken for a real leprechaun at school this week. Yeah, it's funny. Levi's actually, he's taller, than you think when you meet him. He's actually a good sized fellow, but Joe, everybody's short to Joe.
Yeah, when I went down to meet Joe,
7'5".
The only person I know that's taller than Joe. Like I was looking when I met Joe, I was like, "Hey, Joe."
Oh yeah.
It's just Tall John. That's it.
No. So Tall Garage's brother is 6'10". He's taller than Tall John.
Wow.
Tall John's 6'9". Yeah. Most of the old parts are on Ward says thinking Dylan should just buy a small house with a big shop in Sykeston and a lift and spare engines to transfer. There you go.
I want to say real quick, thank you, Colleen. You rock.
Hunter's like, yeah, that's about right. I remember when Dakota was, I don't even know if Dakota had a driver's license not when we met him.
I'll have to ask Colleen if I'm allowed to say what she just did, but I want to say thank you to her.
So Joe says he'll have one. My mom would have worn that. My mom was a big JMJ fan. Several heads in an intake for flathead Fords if anyone's in need, Unfinished Project says. Dust Devil Garage, is there a Joe Levi call out? Yes, Brian. Levi actually did that.
Well, I mean, there's a Joe Wanted sign right behind you, so.
That's right. It's partially obstructed by that box.
That's my favorite sign at the entire area there. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
I like that. That was Cope's doing.
Oh, was it?
With the bounty on Joe at the first No Name Nationals. Ron says, I don't know how tall Dylan is. Every time I've talked with him, he's been bent over the engine compartment on his car or under it on a creeper. That's right. Andrew Nelson says, I'm having a hard time reading the comments. I'm laughing so hard. Yeah, sometimes.
Good little jabs. I'll have to give it to him.
Jack stands the center block says, I know Vic has called me out for 2025. You mean Diecast Dreams Functional Histories, Vic? He's not yet registered. Levi says, Joe better spray the house down. That's all I'm saying. Tell you what, it's going to be a good one. Mr. Rotter suggests winner of a JMJ and Levi's match race has to wear a T-shirt of the competitor. There you go. Wow, Levi did that? Yes.
So Colleen had sent a frame rail up for the old 72 satellite. But she just did something else, too. Because she rocks.
Joe says 7 out of 8 connecting rods ain't bad.
Inspection windows, not so much.
Levi says he only needs 7. Ron says talk is cheap. Thankfully, so are LS engines. You count on Ron for this. You know, the scary thing is Ron is good at heckling people, and Ron also has the microphone all weekend. Yeah, a pink version of the shirt. Yeah, I can see that. Colleen says, I missed something. I must have. I don't know what you're talking about. Dakota says, I wish a 70 Charger, even one that had been wrecked, would be all right. Yeah, Dakota's looking for a Charger, something fierce. Dust Devil Garage says 7 is more than the last 2 years, right? Maybe. Joe says, good night, Levi. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
The best part is I can hear that in his voice, which makes it even better.
It does, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? It really does. Unfinished Projects says there are 2 near me. Well, you got to check them out. Most old parts wrong. Ward says that Levi's a super nice guy with a big heart and big shoulders. No matter what I sling at him, he takes it and keeps smiling. I'm very happy he's an NNN participant. He's a great guy. I agree with all of that. Very happy that Levi is the No Name Nationals. He's a good dude. Love having him in this ecosystem.
Well, it seems like a lot of the people that are here are really awesome.
Dean says a microphone is only an aid to his native talents. I agree, but a microphone also is how they get heard. Colleen says, tell Lunar that he can share. So there you go. She's wanting me to tell you because you're not.
Oh, okay. I see. So she just ordered 2. So I'll have to see which one she ordered, but.
Indirect Connection Jason says, do you know if you're coming this year or not?
Not yet. I don't know, but if I do come this year, it's going to be with the Buick, because currently the Supra's body's apart for paint.
Brazil's asking, Ron, do you only announce or do you take the opportunity to make a pass with that Mopar? If Ron would like to make a pass, he'd be welcome to. He'd have to get it teched in, but I'm sure he could do that. Heaven's Mopars want me to play switchboard operator. I can do that. Scott, if you don't mind, send me a reminder when this is over. Send me a reminder in 1 hour. I'd be happy to do that. Because literally it will be 1,000 comments from now that I would have to remember that otherwise. Mater's workshop is here. Besides, if Dylan wasn't a No Name Nationals, I'd have nothing to talk about other than drive shafts flying out from under D150s and C10s spraying dead dinosaurs on the big end of the racetrack. Yep, those things happen. Both of those have happened. And don't forget a 833 4-speed breaking in half in a Charger. Casey says, with Lunar, the Nelsons, and myself, we could do a super bracket with 3. That's that bracket.
There's your 7M GTE engine so that you can see what it looks like. That's where they belong, right there. Leave them. Or in the junkyard, either one.
Yes, things would be different for Levi if he wasn't a good dude. That's right. We like Levi.
There you go.
There you go.
Everything deserves a V8.
There's Heaven's Mopars troll YouTube services. Scott has most of a Charger. Yeah, he doesn't want to break anything 8 hours from home. Yeah, I can understand that. Just saying you would be welcome to, Ron. And Brooke says thank you. Yes, Brooke is too cool. We appreciate her. Dizzy Izzy's here. How's it going, sir? Andrew Nelson says, Levi, 7 rods. Do you need a little 6-pack action to get prepared for the JMJ event? This Devil Garage says, and header wrap flying out the back of your car like toilet paper on your shoe. Don't know who did that. Just saying it could happen. Yeah, that was. So we had this long awaited for first pass of Brian's Duster at the No Name Nationals after like 2 years of waiting, maybe 3 or 17 or something. But anyway, he goes down the track for the first time. He's in the left lane. So happy for him. And header wrap is flying off like this disintegrating mummy under the car all the way down the track. There's header wrap. There's smoke. He goes toward the wall on the big end. I'm like, wow. But it made it. It made it all 660 feet. Levi says, tell you what, Ron, if the car's together after all my races, I'll turn it down for you and let you make a pass. Can't scare you with Chevy power. Joe says, Levi, share Brooks' YouTube page so he can follow the real journey. Evans Mopar says it needs a quarter put on it. Super solid car. I'd love to get it, but don't have 25,000 laying around. It's a 69 RT. Some assembly required. Yeah, there's no cheap Charger RTs out there anymore. That's for sure.
That's probably just a shell at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
And he forgot the shift. It was a disaster, but he still had fun. Let me tell you, Brian makes progress every year. Every year. First year, the car didn't make it. The second year, it made it as a display. The third year, it made it down the track. And the fourth year, we'll see if it'll run a time. Thumper said, did I tell you that last year was the first time in 19 years I made a legal pass at a drag strip? No, that's interesting. Did not realize that.
Define legal. That's such a very odd point to make. Why?
Mater would like to see Turbo Tom break his record pass in his Model T. You know, Turbo Tom did run, what did he run? I think he ran a 17-second eighth mile in his Model T at 42 miles or 45 miles an hour, something like that. Turbo Tom is going to be our pace car for the cruise to Lambert's this year, because we had a lot of trouble with people policing themselves in an orderly fashion to Lambert's last year. And I'll take some responsibility for that. But I think they need a little bit more structure. So what we're going to do this year is we're going to queue up everybody at the gate, and we're going to have our pace car, Turbo Tom's 1916 Model T Ford, to take us to Lambert's. And that way, everybody will fall in line, and we'll proceed to Lambert's in a fashion that the Scott County Sheriff's Office will be pleased with. They did me a solid last year by not pulling anybody over with a blue light special, but you know, we're going to have to have more cooperation this year. So Tom's been very gracious to do that. 17.5 at 38. Okay, there we go. Dakota says, I raced my boss in the work parking lot one Saturday. Okay, that sounds like you got a cool boss. BNR says that the No Name Nationals in 2023 was the first time back on a drag strip after 20 years for me. That's cool. I will say I did make a pass in Cope's truck. I guess it was 2023. I hadn't been on track in 3 years. And I ran 100th different than Cope did in it.
You actually have a license, don't you?
Ron says, today I finished installing an MSD Atomic EFI billet distributor digital 6AL in an Impala for one of his customers. 66 Impala 327. What a headache. Biggest issue was a butchered GM harness.
Mr. Wilburn, I have to hop off.
Yes, sir.
Absolute pleasure.
Coming out. I told Lunar, I said, we'll stand around, we'll plug it and everything. And gosh, you've been hanging out like 45 minutes, but you're always welcome. Thank you for coming by. And congratulations to UP, our big winner. And if you guys want one of these, there's a link down below.
And thank you, Colleen, for putting an order in for 2. You rock.
Thank you, man. We'll see you soon.
You're good.
Maynard asks if it's a 2.5 hour trip to Lambert's. No, I estimate that at 5.9 miles, even with our pace car Model T, it won't be quite that bad. EV. Now, I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing one of those quick Teslas run at that event. That'd be pretty wild. Dizzy says, call out Cope, Dust Devil, and Thumper. I'd like to see, Cope and Dizzy race. I'll tell you what might not be a bad race. If Cope were to bring his power wagon, that might be a pretty good race with Dizzy. They might run pretty close. Dust Devil Garage says, so you're saying we need adult supervision? Yes. Indirect Connection says, mention bringing the Buick. What would be cool is bring a bicycle. We just want you there. That's what it's about. Exactly. Leave it to Indirect Connection Jason to remind people what it's about. Thanks for coming by, Lunar. Appreciate you, man. Thought he could tell you guys more about his product there than I could. So, in my defense, I was left mostly unsupervised, Casey says. That is correct. Levi says the cruise to Lambert's is awesome. The way back stinks because my headlights aren't any good, very dim. Yeah, there's a lot of people that say they have that problem. So, kind of have a plan with that, a drafting buddy, so to speak. Dr. Goes says, my Smoggy 318 did a 1236 at 54. Turbo might catch me, Tom. Yeah, well. Andrew Nelson says, I was granted the opportunity to go all out on one of those fast Teslas. Holy guacamole, they are fast. Yes, they are. They are not slow. Ron says, I wish Lambert's had a serving windows to the parking lot so we could set up lawn chairs supper outside. Well, I'm glad you said that, because even though that isn't feasible by itself, we are planning to cook out at the track on the last night. So we're going to have our community cookout, which was an idea that Dallas brought forward the first year, but we're going to make that a more structured part of the event this year, the community cookout. So we'll have more on that soon. Danny Boyd says, looks like a cool piece. Hadn't had a carb off in years. You can't even fit a beer can in any of my carb opens. Well, you could stand one in that. And then if it's spilled, it will get on your valve covers instead of down in the intake. Scrap Iron Racing, how's it going, sir? Glad you could come by. Scrap Iron Racing puts on quite a show at the No Name Nationals. They field a monkey bike. They've had a Ford Salt Flats racer, a beautiful Chevelle station wagon. Those guys are a class act. Glad you could come by. Saturday night cookout. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Possum and I have worked up a plan for that for this Saturday. So Thursday night, we've got Lambert's. Then we've got our burnout competition Friday. Figure out whatever you want to do for that. A lot of people cook in their pits. But Saturday night, we'll have the community cookout. And we know some people have to take off Saturday right after awards to get home. We understand. That's totally fine. But it'll be for who's there. And usually we have a lot of people there on Saturday night. Bobby Frizzell said we had more fun on the drive back than we did on the drive to. Well, I will say, behave yourselves. We're on the radar. Thumper says, I got a fat tire mini bike from Tractor Supply. Does anyone want some of that action? Line up with me. Well, with the liberalized monkey bike rules this year, or last year and this year, there's a lot more you can do. Most of the old parts is I'll be flying solo this year without having to haul additional luggage and supplies. I'll have room in the trunk for another cooler and grill. Okay. Scrap Iron Racing says we'll race mini bikes for food. Yeah, those guys, they field a good entry over there. You know, the name is such a misnomer, Scrap Iron Racing. Their stuff is beautiful, but they call it Scrap Iron Racing. Go figure. I have a question for you guys. Just thought of this. Because you are the people who would know. Let me find this. So I had someone send me this. What is this vehicle? Got a lot of knowledge in the chat here. And also, could my nails be any dirtier? I mean, I worked on those with a nylon bristle brush and could not get my nails any better than that. But anyway, what kind of car do we have there? Got a camera to focus in on that a little better. What do we have there, guys? Thumper says 56 Olds. Andrew Nelson says 56 Pontiac. Mater says 56 Buick. Yeah, Andrew Nelson, that's right in his wheelhouse. Oldsmobile, 56 Oldsmobile, Bucktail Campo says. $55. Now, see, the owner's descendant thought it was a 55. So Ron's saying 55. So I'm getting Oldsmobile, and we think it's a 55 or 56. Dizzy, it's not a Chevy. Trim's wrong. Need to see the bumpers, know what year. Yeah, that's what I don't know. I was thinking it was a 55 or 56. I knew it was a BOP and not a Chevy. Wrong trim for 56. Okay, so it is 55. That's what they thought it was a 55. So we're saying it's a 55 Oldsmobile. What, and Dallas is 55 Oldsmobile. Okay, so what car is it? What will we call that? What would the model be? I'll get out of here with that Mohawk. 55 Oldsmobile, what will we call it? What's the model? Super 88? It's an 88. Okay. Well, cool. I just love, I knew, so I think it was the owner's daughter sent me this and thought it was like a 55 Chevy. And I said, oh no, that's a BOP version, but I didn't know what. I said, you know what? I know there's a crowd of like 60 people who will know. 56 Oldsmobile 88. 55 Oldsmobile 88. There we go. The Super 88 had additional trim. That's an entry-level 88. There we go. You know what? Okay, since we just did that, I'm going to do another one of those because I have one for me that I have wanted to know forever. I've never known this mystery. You guys will know this. Let me find the picture. All right. I just thought of this just now. Let's see here. I think it's in my favorites. Pretty sure. Oh, yeah, it is. There it is. Okay. So this is a picture. Well, first of all, the picture, that's my dad's family there. So, you know, if I can get that to focus. Yeah, I'm in the middle of Mom's lap there. So that picture's sometime in 78. But what I want to know is, what is that car behind my Uncle Jim there? What is that white car? I've never known what that is. We just can't tell. We think it belonged to the tenant that lived up there in what's now my treehouse. But we just can't tell. What is that? I'm seeing AMC Javelin in the comments. '58 built. No, it's not a '58 Belvedere. It doesn't have a vent window. Look at that, Ron. It's got to be newer than that. 69 Chevelle, I don't know. I'm seeing several Javelins there. Looks like a Mopar. It kind of does. It kind of looks like a 70s, early 70s B-body. I'm seeing a lot of people telling me they think it's a Javelin. Now I've got to go look at some pictures because I didn't even think about that. You are the perfect group to ask this question. Ron saying the 71 Pinto. Maybe. Well, I've never been able to figure out what that car is. But anyway, from left to right there, that's my Uncle Jim, my dad, my Uncle Joe, and my grandpa. And then the bottom row there, that's my Uncle Jim's wife and my cousin Jamie, and then my mom and me and my grandma. I can identify all the people, but I sure can't identify that car. Dizzy's saying 73 Charger. No, look at the front end. It's a little too pug looking to be a 73 Charger. Buff is saying 70 Torino. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, BNR says I got the diesel mechanic figure. Man, you would not believe how much I tried to clean these hands. I sorted out 1,391 pounds. No, actually, it was more than that. 1,391 pounds went to recycling, and I kept a half of a 5-gallon bucket of just bolts. I was sorting scrap for a buddy of mine, and I hauled off 900 pounds of brush, and I've got more than that on the trailer now. And so between the sap and the grease, I took a nylon bristle to my nails. I couldn't get any of this off. It was awful. So whatever. So, of course, tonight, I'm holding up this and I'm holding up pictures, and it's like, has to be when I have the grubbiest hands I could possibly have. Le Mans or Tempest looks like it's not an E-body, Scott. It's got too short of a snout. BNRS is working hard. Yeah, I got my left hamstring. I'm feeling it. I did this. I don't know what in the world I did there. I tried to take half my arm off. I don't have any idea how I did that. There's no blood on it. I just got on my sweatshirt and didn't even notice. Thumper says, I don't think it's Pontiac. I don't either. But you guys have given me some things to compare. So the Indirect Connection says the windshield definitely looks forward, and Buff thinks it may be a Torino, but I've heard a couple people say Javelin. I'm thinking I'm going to look at a Torino and a Javelin and look and see. BNR says sometimes shampoo works. Oh, of course it does. Of course, part of the thing is guys say you shampoo your hair to get your nails clean. Well, when you don't have a lot of hair to shampoo, it doesn't work as well. So that wasn't the back end. No, it's pulled in. You can tell by the windshield rake. And Finished Project said he asked Grok, and it says Toyota Corolla. So Ron says, I'm serious about 71 Pinto. You know what? I will. The windshield frame doesn't look right, though. But I will. I'll look at that. I'll try to look at that together with the Pinto. I could ask Irish Outlaw J. I really want to know what that car was, because it would have had to belong to one of the tenants. It's nothing we had. Beach shows fingers. I'd love to go to the beach. I haven't been to the beach since I stopped at Panama City Beach for about an hour for lunch in 2021. And I haven't actually been to the beach since 2018. Now, I'd like to. Jethro loves the beach, believe it or not. He's saying Javelin, saying AMX. I'm going to look now. You guys, I'm going to look and do some comparison, because now I got some things. You're giving me some stuff to look at. Mr. Rotter says, I don't think the Pinto was ever offered with a vinyl top. That's a very good point, Alice. Frizzell says, I've seen better photos of Sasquatch. Yeah, because people are making them all the time. Where's Bigfoot Mark, speaking of that? Unfinished Project says, I'm sticking with Toyota Corolla. Mr. Rotter says, I believe that would have to be something other than a compact car. I kind of think so, too. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Ron, I don't believe no, it's not a Pinto. Look at that bumper. See the bumper? It's definitely not a Pinto. Yeah, look at that wheel opening. It's got a vinyl top with the vinyl down to A-pillars. It does not have a vent window. I mean, the picture's 47 years old. I'm lucky to have it at all. I know he meant bleach, but it was more fun to say beach, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. I know what he meant. Sometimes it's more fun to run with the error than it is to self-correct. Andrew Nelson says, we're headed out at 4 a.m. Good night, gang. Well, thank you for coming by, man. We appreciate you. And Ron says, the Pinto was offered with a vinyl top from 71 to 78. Well, we learn new things every day. Learn all kinds of things from Ron Ward and Dallas and this whole community. It's wonderful. Danny Boy says, it's not a first-generation Celica, is it? I have no idea. It had to belong. It sure doesn't look like a satellite to me, Dallas. I don't believe it's a satellite. No, in fact, it can't be. Look at that marker light. It's too short. Got all kinds of guesses here. 70-ish Fairlane, 6870 Montego. I have no idea. It's a recessed marker light, 71 only for Mopar. 70 and 71 and 69. 69 to 71 had recessed marker lights, Colleen. 68 had the little spotlight thing, and 72 had the bubble-looking universal one. 69 through 70 were all recessed. DNR says it has amber marker light. It has to be 70s. Good point. Yeah, it does look 70s to me. Thumper asks if the vinyl top acted as a flame retardant on the Pinto. Ron says Ford referred to it as a Landau top, mostly because Landau doesn't sound as cheap as vinyl. What year was the picture taken? Looking at me in that photo, I'm going to say that's... The trees haven't yet turned. I'm going to say that photo is summer or early fall of 1978. I can tell you pretty well for sure what year that photo is because I'm in it. That's going to be summer, maybe it's summer. It's summer of 78. Old McDonald says, I never saw a square marker light on a Mopar. Yeah, that thing was pretty, that marker light was pretty short. It looked shorter than a Mopar marker light. You know, you say Maverick, I don't know. Buff's Garage. Hello, party people. Oklahoma is burning down. Well, stay safe, man. Buff, we're trying to figure out what this car is. Belonged to one of the tenants that my grandpa rented to. Of course, I can't get it to focus in on it, but it's we can't figure out what it is. There we go. Dallas is asking, does a 72 Challenger have a marker light like that? No, it does not. Those were the bubble universal style ones that they used all the way up into the 80s. Even maybe as late as early 90s. Trino has the same marker lights. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the part to me that I think should narrow it down a little bit is if you look really closely, it's got a chrome bumper that goes up above that body line. See that? That's why I don't think it's a Pinto. It does look kind of Ford. The marker light looks too short to be a Mopar. And then we go over here. It's got a vinyl top. Anyway, I was just curious because I have always wondered what that is. Every time I see that picture, it bugs me. Ron says Mavericks had a very defined body line, about 2/3. Okay, well, that's good to know. All right. And that does, well, that does, Ron. If you look, it does have a really defined body line. It has one in the middle, too. Yeah, I don't either, Buff. I'm wreaking havoc on the focus of my little Logitech camera up there. Wheel opening matches. Yeah, it does, actually. It does. It may be. What was the cop car from the Dukes of Hazzard? They had several different ones. Probably a Dodge Monaco was the most common, or a Plymouth Fury. Definitely not a 73 or 4 Satellite or Roadrunner, Scott. Danny Boy says maybe a Javelin. I'm going to look. I'm going to look and see what we can rule out by that front end. But you guys have given me some stuff to actually look because I didn't even know what I was looking for. Dean's saying Ford for sure. He's a Ford guy. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward that too. Dan, the IT guy, how's it going, sir? Dougster says, after some research, I'm now behind 38 with 71 Trino. That's, you know what? That what you guys say make a lot of sense. That's where I'm going to be looking to try to match this up. I should put this picture on my community post so people can have a good picture that's not moving around. So it's not a Mopar? I don't think so. I don't think it is at all. And this belongs to a tenant that my grandfather would have rented to in 1978. I don't remember him. That's Mom and I, so I don't remember that tenant. Dean's changed his mind. He says it's a polished big block Mopar tunnel rim. 38 should know. He just scrapped a 70s Trino last year. 38 knows a lot of stuff. Well, see, you guys, all of you guys, you guys are all really smart. Now, Indirect Connection sent me this, and I got to tell you, the marker light kind of looks right. The fender look, but you know what doesn't look right? That bumper corner doesn't look right. It really doesn't. You know what else, too? That car didn't have a vent window. This one does. I don't think we have it, guys. No. There's a line right above that marker light, coincides with the fender. It's a maybe. It's a maybe, but there's a couple things that don't look right. Bumper came up level with the marker light. Yes, it did, Bobby, but in the picture, I can't quite tell. Ron says, you called it with the front bumper. Check out a 73 Toyota Celica. Well, no, that's interesting. So now I want to see that. Somebody would send me a picture of a 73 Toyota Celica. We'll check that out. Yes, it was taken in 78. I know that for sure. Because I'm not a year old there. 70 Torinos don't have a vent window. Well, Jason just sent me one that did. A 71 that had a vent window. Bobby would know. Okay, so I think that theory's still alive. And it actually, the marker light now really looks right. The only thing that didn't was the corner of but I think my photo just isn't good enough to tell. So I think you're right. Maybe 2X D's good at that stuff. He is. 71 Torino. 71 didn't have the vent window. Okay. Well, Jason sent this one, says it's a 71 Torino, and it very clearly has a vent window. But that's just what Jason sent me. All right. Tim Jacobson. Well, the one he sent me is really modified, though. It's really modified. Let's see. 38 Racing sent me a short video of a 71 Torino. I don't know if I can quite pull that up at the minute. This is good. I think we figured, you know what? I'm thinking that just that picture is kind of, I think that's just something goofy in the photo. I don't think that is the bumper wrapping up. I think that is a 71 Torino. Okay, here's the Celica, Ron. Who sent me that? Was that Jason? That's Buff. Buff sent me the Celica. And we can clearly tell the wheel opening does not match. The bumper comes up kind of looking like that photo, but the marker light and the fender does not match. So we can rule that out. Thank you, Buff. Appreciate that. Okay, here's the difference. What Jason sent me the first time was a 4-door, and the 2-door does not have the vent window. I think we've got it. I think it's a 70 or 71 Torino. I have wondered that for years and years and years what that was. And I think that this community figured it out. I think we've got it. It's because it's the 2-doors, the difference, apparently. That looks all kinds of right. That looks like everything lines up. How cool. Yes, Dizzy, I did. It's not my uncle's shoulder, but it's I don't know what it is. It's something beside Dad there. What happened to Buck? I don't know. Buck's just busy. Buck's got stuff to do. There's Cope. Says Dizzy, Mr. Democracy. I'll tell you, Cope, if you were to bring the power wagon, that'd be a pretty good race, I think, with Dizzy. Most of the old parts says that Torino does look a lot like the pick, but there's no grubby fingers wrapped around. Yes, exactly. Sounds like a new game. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun, and you guys helped me figure out something I've never known all these years. It is definitely not a 71 Scamp. I could rule that out immediately. No way. Yeah, for real, Cope. He would give you the honor of racing him. He would do that. It didn't take me that long, Wendy, because I'd only seen the picture for the first time maybe 10 years ago. Do I look homeless tonight, Cope? Do I look homeless tonight? He said I looked homeless last weekend. I was wearing a shirt that didn't really fit me, and it was all kind of weird looking. He said I looked homeless. Danny IT guy said, I love those event windows in my 72 dart. I do too. I think they're great. That's the one thing I don't like about a dart sport is it doesn't have an event window. Yes. Hey, Buff did an important part of it. He said, glad I could help prove what it's not. Well, that's important too. You helped us rule something out. He says, today I look very dapper. Dapper. That's quite a word for Cope there. Very dapper. Oh, wait a minute, Cope. You haven't seen this yet, though. So 1,391 pounds of sorting scrap today and tree sap. There was not enough Gojo and nylon brush in this world. I could not get my hands any better than this. So there you go. I just lost all of my points for that, right? I think that was like, yes. Check the Scamp wheelbase to be sure. I'm pretty sure it's not 111. Danny Boyd says my 77 F-150 has vent wing windows. Yes, I love those things. I think they're great. Nothing has them anymore. Cope, today I'm wearing a shirt from, I started to wear a CRT shirt, but today I'm wearing my Bootleggers Cafe shirt. This is a place that used to be a restaurant in Rocky Mount. And because Rocky Mount is like ground zero for the bootlegging and running illegal liquor from stills, it's famous for that. In fact, that's where they filmed that show, Bootleggers. And anyway, there was a cafe there, and I love that place, but he couldn't get his food costs down, couldn't stay open, couldn't stay viable. But he had the best nachos there. That's my favorite thing on his menu. Nice guy. He just couldn't get his food costs down. And this was before it went outrageous in the last few years. Buff Del Campo says, I think it's a representative republic, not a democracy. Buff is correct. Indecisive Garage says, plan on showing Cope why a Ford should have a Ford engine. Oh, my. Unfinished Project says, fortunately, it looks like $85 hot dogs are a thing of the past. Scrap Iron Racing says he owned a 70 Torino with a 429 Cobra Jet. Never ran when I owned it. I resemble that remark with some things. There we go. On the orange paper from last week, 2 weeks ago, yeah, right. But there's a leap year skip in there. So if your calendar's a day off, that's why. Just don't make sure you accommodate for leap year. 6th Street Garage is asking, Cope, do you have any videos of the 8 HP 70, that 8-speed like in your red truck? Most of the old parts says, I think if you take the vent windows and door glass out of a 67 Barracuda, you should be able to bolt them into the doors of a dark sport. That'd be cool. I don't think that would fit at all. That'd be interesting. Coach said, that's a funny thing to be saying to me when your transmission's on my bench, Tim. Oh, boy. Izzy says, like Lincoln said, of the people, for the people, and by the people. As Lincoln also said, burn the South all the way from Atlanta to the sea. He also said that. No love for Lincoln here. Buff said, after working on Falkenstein all week, I can't be sure what any car is. Pretty sure there's 3 different Falcons and Rancheros made into an International Scout chassis. It's something different for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that combo in my life. And probably never will again. That's pretty wild. Oh, wait, he's not done with my transmission yet, Tim says. Well, maybe he was and decided to go back in. He says, stealing Garfield's line from Embassy Suites? I have no idea what you're talking about. I like Garfield, though. I always think of Garfield when our local pizza place down here, because the manager's name is Arbuckle. Mohawk says, wouldn't the doors of a 71 Scamp fit the Dart Sport? No, because a Scamp is a Dart body and a Dart Sport is a Duster body. It's 2 different bodies. It's not the same car body. Oh, well, the door, it's funny you say the door might. The door might. The glass definitely doesn't. But you're right. I think the door stamping is the same. I think you're correct. Lincoln was all about the taxes, but taxation was theft. Scrap Iron Racing says the Torino I had was a Cobra model like the Talladega, just a stripped model. Actually had a 4-speed top loader with a bench seat. Oh, that's a wild combo. I like that. I like the top loader. I like it a lot. Kind of wish that the Mopar had done theirs that way. A buddy of mine used to build those, and I would do his case prep and stuff for him. He had a certain routine ritual he would do on all his before he built them. I just like those things. Danny Boyd says the glass probably droops his top edge too much. Yeah, oh yeah, the glass definitely won't work. It's a whole different regulator system and everything. Yeah, the Scamp and Dart have a different A-pillar. The roof is taller on a Scamp. Right. None of that works. I'm just saying I think the door stamping is the same, come to think of it. Yeah, but none of the glass or any of that would work at all. Okay, Ron confirms the door stamping is the same. Yeah. Has all 5 of those goofy body lines in it. It's just that they flow into a completely different sheet metal on the quarter on back. Danny Boyd says, I think you can put 73 to 79 Nova doors on a 68 to 72 and shave the vent window. Maybe. I'll tell you exactly who to ask that question. Who would know that 100% is John Gilman, Shop 209. He would know all about that. He is Mr. Nova. I think he owns 47% of all Novas left in the world. Dean says, and they have a wheelbase difference. Ask Mohawk. I said, well, yeah, I know that one very well. I'm very familiar with those cars. There's a 111 variety and 108 variety. Buff's Garage says, any Ford Falcon Ranchero experts in here? Hit me up at buffsgarage@gmail.com. there are some guys that know some things about those. So there you go. If you know anything about your Falcons and Rancheros, shoot Buff an email. Mater sent me a link to the Garfield commercial. I'll check that out. Thank you. Ron says the 67 Barracuda has the same A-pillar as the Dart Sport Plymouth Duster. Really? Wow. I never knew that. How does it have the same, the whole windshield and everything's different though, isn't it? How does the 67 Barracuda have the same A-pillar as the Duster body? I didn't think any of that stamping was out till 70. Huh. I would never have thought that. I would never have thought that. The Barracuda door shell in the same, right, it's a rounded door, but I would have thought that whole A-pillar was completely new for 70. I had no idea. I always learn new things from Ron Ward. Oh, and not only do I learn new things from Ron, I learn new things that are actually true and correct. we learn new things from all kinds of people that aren't, but Ron is actually credible. Dizzy says his 4 acres house in Paris, Tennessee goes on the block. Oh, it's an auction. Is it an auction or a listing, Dizzy? Because if it's a listing, I'm happy to share the link. Dan, the IT guy, said, I had a faded red 72 Dart custom 4-door with a 318 4-barrel, 355, and 8 3/4. Great burnout car. Had a little something. Yeah. Sounds like a great little combo. I like that. I like that a lot. That'd be a good sleeper. Rabbit Transit J says, Dizzy, when we race, you get left lane, I get right lane. That sounds very intuitive. You know, the left lane has really grown on me over time. When I was a teenager, I liked the right lane. And I mean, obviously, you like lanes for different reasons. You like the lane that's the least screwed up from oil downs. But I have gotten more and more used to liking the left lane for some reason. Dallas says he can't do anything till after August. Go ahead and sell it. But you never know, Dallas. That you could, if you were interested in it, I could help you guys work that out. There is a way to make that bridge that gap, and I'm happy to help you. Danny Boyd says, never choose a lane according to your political beliefs. Oh, well, that evolution in my lane choice has nothing to do with my political beliefs. I just have come to actually kind of like the left lane better as far as looking at the tree when all else is the same. I still can't cut a light for anything, but B&R mentions the inner door frame. You know what? I'm thinking that a Valiant and a Charger have the same interior door handle several years apart. Isn't that true, Ron? Like a 74 Valiant and a 69 Charger, something like that, have the same interior door handle? Old McDonald says 74 Torino King Cobra matches the side markers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a 70 Torino. I think we figured out that's what it is. Unfortunately, there's no one living I can ask who that would have belonged to. But I was just kind of curious. Ron says yes on the door handles. That's what I was thinking. I read that in a parts interchange book many, many years ago. Somehow I remembered that. Danny Boyd says both lanes are awesome, but I might prefer the right. I never considered my view reaction to the tree, though. Well, here's one thing is the hood scoop. If you're on a track that has a really close distance with the tree to where your staging beams are and you got a really big honking hood scoop, it can be hard to see around that thing. And a big track where they put the tree out as far as they should, it's not generally a problem. If you go to a small track where it's a little closer in, it can be hard to see. Total non-issue in the right lane. Peckerwood Custom says left lane in Australia for the same reason. I just like it better as long as I'm not doing this. Levi, it's a good reason, by the way, to run a 6-pack scoop instead of a mailbox style Pro Stock scoop. 6-pack scoop's not high enough to have that problem. NHRA just announced an all-girl team for Top Fuel. Survey says nobody cares. I don't care about their gender. I don't want teams of one individuals. I'm going to tell you what. If they do that, nothing wrong with all that. But if they can't do the job, I don't want to see people trying to take up for them forever. Danica Patrick, the only reason that she was on a track so long was because she was female. There's no male driver on earth that could get away with wrecking that many people and that much carnage. You couldn't hack it. Would ever have kept his job. So they got to perform. I mean, that's all there is to it. If they go out there and blow stuff up, then nobody should be defending that for that reason. If they go out and they win, good for them. I think equal opportunity is great. I don't like seeing any of this forced equity stuff making its way into motorsports. People have the opportunity, great, but they got to go out and make it happen. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat said Jethro should be barking soon. Oh, yeah, don't jinx us. NHRA is woke big time. It's a mess. But we're at our time. We still got 48 people here. We've been having a good time. Hey, Dallas, Lunar was in here earlier, and we gave one of these away. He's making them now. Got a link down below to that. 5% off using discount code NNN. Mr. Rodgers says there have been many all-girl teams that I remember. But anyway, we're at our time. Thank you guys for coming out. I plan to be live again next Friday. Also on Wednesday nights, Wednesday night Tech Talk Live. And there should be something really cool coming up on there regarding the EZ302. So I'm going to wait and see if that comes together, see if they're talking about it on Wednesday. I talked with Dallas a little bit about it today, and I can see this happening on a Wednesday night Tech Talk soon on the AHRA channel. So you might want to go over there and get to following the EZ302 if you're not already. So with that, you guys have a great weekend. I will see you again soon. Thanks for coming out.